Hello, everybody. Welcome to yet another edition of Caliber and Character. I am your host, Volstorm. With me always is the beautiful and vocally talented Dictionary Diva. Diva, how are you?
I'm good. You catch me by surprise every time.
I know that's the whole point. That's the
Yeah.
whole point. And guess what? Our special guest has arrived.
Yay!
Everybody, please welcome Clumsy Clairvoyance.
Woohoo! Yay!
Yay!
I hear the background applause.
Yep.
That's right. That's right.
Thank you for having me, y'all.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah.
No, I'm so excited to be here. I'm excited. Me and Dave have been chatting for the last couple days.
Fun.
Nice.
Fun. Very excited.
I've been warping her mind for you.
That's great. That's all we need is to warp more minds around here.
Yeah.
Nice.
True. Very true. Accurate.
Well.
What? Oh, you want me to start? This is why.
Okay, guys, I'm taking over. Just kidding.
This is why I would.
You might need to.
TED Talks would not be my thing. So, was it our last rave that we did, Volstorm, where we were talking about guardian angels?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it's exactly
and I was
what
like,
we were doing.
we need to ask Clumsy about guardian angels. And then I was like, ooh, we could ask her about everything else too.
You know, it's funny because I don't even know. Remember how I was telling you I watched your guys' last video? Was that the one you were talking about where you said you guys were talking about guardian angels?
Yeah.
I wasn't even sure at first because I was here. I saw your dog come in like you were talking about. I was like, I wonder if this is the right one.
Yeah, he had to make a special appearance.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, he always likes to jump in. Let's do a couple little shout outs real quick. White Rabbit is not going to be able to make it because she's in a meeting, but we'll definitely watch the replay.
Aw.
Miami Spice says, listening and doing lunch dishes. Snowed in. Oh.
Man.
Who's snowed in?
Miami Spice is. She's hanging out with Old Spice up in up north.
You know what I called her the other night on my live?
What? Oh, Miami Vice. Yes, we watched it.
Oh
we watched
God.
that.
Oh, that shit was so hilarious.
It was great. It was great.
Miami Vices. It makes
Miami Vices.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, remember that show Miami Vice?
Yes.
Yes.
Like,
oh yeah.
I don't think nobody got it in the chat because they were like, who, like legal vices or something like that? I'm like, no. I'm like, legal vices? Why do they keep saying that? And then I'm like, has no one ever heard of the other ones, Vices or Miami Vice?
They're
the show?
Right.
Different generation, I think, maybe.
Yeah,
Right.
apparently.
Melanie says, good evening. Gemino Filter says, hi, Diva and hail Volstorm and Clumsy. Changing sheets and cleaning.
Nice.
Listening, don't forget to hit the like. Thank you so much. Yes, be sure and hit that like and subscribe button, not only to our channel, but in the description, we have a link to Clumsy's channel. She is one away from 500.
Oh my gosh. Am I
As
again?
of this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep.
YouTube is such a tease.
I know it. It drives you nuts.
Yeah, Melissa was in my chat the other night. She's like, you hit 500. I'm like, I did? Woohoo. Yay, I'm all celebrating, right? And then next morning, Miami Vices is all, you're only 3 away from 500. And I was like, what? What are you talking about?
Squall said you sound a little soft, Diva.
Oh, could be me. I'm probably loud.
Wait.
No.
I don't know. It's because I am soft.
You're good.
Ha.
Ha ha ha.
Ha.
But
Texas
yeah,
Jen says hello.
You gotta finish that story though, about the your guys' live. It was a really good live too, by the way, you guys. I watched the whole thing.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's try something. I'm trying to adjust my settings. Is that any better?
Sounds better.
Does it?
Yeah, it sounds a little bit louder.
How's that?
Oh yeah.
Much
There
better?
you go.
Okay. All right. There we go.
So finish your story. You were trying to talk while the dog was on you.
Oh, which one? Oh, about the the time I almost got abducted, but
Yes.
was
Yes.
was too Pollyanna to even realize what was going on, but something had to have protected me.
Yeah. So just start over from the jump on that one. Come on.
Okay, so I had to wait at the bus stop, and it was it had been an old convenience store, actually an old kind of general store, and then the family closed it down. So, but it still stayed the bus stop, but nobody was working in it. And then there'd be some times where I'd be just completely alone at the bus stop, which was on the main state highway. And in the country, people would honk, and wave. That's just normal. And I'd, wave back. I didn't think a thing of it until one day this fella in pickup came circling back, and he's like, "You want to go for a ride?" And I was like, "No." He's like, "I can take you home." And I was like, "No, no, the bus driver will be here soon." And like, knowing now what I didn't know then, I should have been scared out of my wits. And instead I was kind of like, oh, well, that was weird. I didn't think a thing of it,
As a teenager, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that always, and I've always thought, like, because of all my other stupidity, that I had to have somebody watching over me, because I would do some stupid stuff and not think a thing of it, because I'm just Pollyanna. Didn't think about it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It is crazy. So that's what made me wonder about, like guardian angels and just what kind of connection we carry with us from our family. I don't know why I can't talk now. I was talking all kinds of stuff with Volstorm. I was joking.
It's because you're on camera.
I was like flirting, and I was doing all kinds of stuff with him. And now I'm like,
you're like, huh? No, but
oh my gosh.
Vol, when she told me today to send a picture for the thumbnail, I'm like, "You want my OnlyFans picture?" I was like, "Just kidding."
Well, it's up to you.
She didn't respond. I was like, "Oh, maybe she took it the wrong way."
I did a laughing face.
Okay, did you?
No, she said to me that was perfect. I didn't know about the OnlyFans comment. I'd have been like, "Well, whatever you want to put up there is fine with me. I don't care."
We could do OnlyFans. Maybe.
I had a. That's funny we talk about that, but I had a guy when I was first starting out doing private readings for everyone and my YouTube channel. This guy emailed me to reach out for a private reading. I was all excited. It was one of the first I got it off of YouTube and stuff. I'm like, oh, I'm so excited, right? And he's like messaging me back and forth, and then he's like, "Okay, so I want you to do this tarot reading for me, but I want you in your bra and underwear." And I'm like, "Really? That's a thing?"
Yeah, no.
I'm like, "That's a thing?"
Mm-hmm.
But I remember being all excited. I was like, "Oh," like a little puppy all sad after. I was like, "Oh,
I know why.
I thought he wanted a tarot reading.
Why do you have to go there with it?
Right?" It was hilarious. It just, that reminded me of that, though. It was so funny.
That does lead me to ask you this. What made you want to get on YouTube and do this?
That's a good question. You know what? I think because when I first found a deck of tarot cards, right?
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't known anything about it. This is years ago. And I had started looking up things on YouTube and online and stuff like that. And I'd seen a few people doing tarot readings on YouTube. And I remember saying, well, maybe one day I'll get there. I'll be comfortable enough, And I'm pretty sure that after that, that's just how it went.
I think it's cool. It's very relaxing. We were watching today, and Volstorm's like, "That is so relaxing."
I now know why Expert wants to fall asleep listening to you early in the morning.
He says that all the time. And I'm like, it's so weird to me because I'm like, really? And he's like, ASMR tarot. I'm like, am I boring? He's like, no, it's just relaxing.
Yeah, it is. It's just relaxing. Yeah. Very, very chill. Very chill. And then we went into where you were starting to watch that show, Strange.
Oh, Scary.
Oh, that was great.
Yes.
Did you guys watch it?
We watched part of it.
Yeah, we watched it. We watched just about your whole episode.
Yeah.
So we got to see probably the first 3 or 4 stories.
And okay, so which stories which one did you think was the weirdest story, by the way, at the end?
Probably the little girl.
Yeah.
The little girl that got pregnant at 5 years old.
That was
or delivered a baby at 5, I should say.
Yeah.
She was pregnant at 4.
Yeah.
What the F? We were all dumbfounded because I'm like, wait, what? I kept pausing. I was like, wait, hold on. And we were all we're debating, like, how did this happen? This is so insane.
I did the same thing. I was like, wait a minute. How is this possible?
And how is whoever did it still alive after the fact? You know, like.
I was surprised that girl turned up to be like an adult after, like she actually made it through that delivery, or considering how young she was.
Yeah. Different world, though. Very different world and different time back then. But that goes to show that there's always going to be sickos no matter what timeline.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, I really enjoyed listening to your show and how you're able to interact with the chat and just be like, okay, I'll give you a reading, and then it was just really cool.
You don't get distracted. Like I would get completely I do get distracted. That's why it's off to my right now. Cause
like with chat, you mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See, so I'm kind of the opposite. Cause like because I have Jujubee is a mod, and then I have Darth, right?
Nice.
And I'll get and I also have Steven too, but those two are the main ones, is Darth and Jujubee. And but a lot of times, see, I'll like refuse to go down in chat until I start going through the actual readings. Yeah. And then they're like, she never does, she just hasn't looked at chat. And it's like, I really am looking at chat, but I'm going in order of questions. And then they're like trying to get my attention, like throwing a whole million like stop signs in the chat and shit. I'm like, oh, did you need something? Like 10 minutes later, I look at the time.
Oops. Did I miss that? I'm sorry. Well, I would do that, and I would be completely oblivious, like just oblivious, because that's just how I roll. We were talking about the most outrageous things that you've encountered, and I think that fella wanting you to do tarot naked is probably that's crazy.
You mean like during a reading or during like a chat or something?
Like during a reading.
Yeah. During a reading.
So you know what? I had a really crazy one about, and I was trying to find the video the other night, but I had a really crazy reading about like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And hold on, let me grab this real quick. I got to grab something because I'm going to show it to you. But okay, so this guy came in the chat, right, for a reading. And he was like, he said, oh, okay, I just have one question, and it was some name I didn't recognize at all. I was like, okay, sure, no problem. And he asked me, he said, I just would like to know if all my dreams are going to come true, right? And
okay.
It's vague.
Yeah. Right? But I was like, okay, well, it's just like a quick question. And I was like, okay, so let me get, and I rarely use this deck. So I grabbed this deck right here, and it's called Cue Cards, right? Like I never, ever use them, right? So I'm like, okay. So I'm sitting there shuffling, and I'm like asking, I'm like, okay, will his dreams come true? And then I'm going to show you which cards showed up or popped up. I'm looking for it. Hold on. You're like the anticipation.
I know.
But
excited.
Right. Hold on. That's not it. That's not it. It's a pink one. No. Okay, here. Wait, is that it? Yep. Look. And then this card pops up for him.
What does it say? Dang it. I can't see it. I need new glasses, but I won't admit it.
Dearest wish comes true.
Oh.
And it gave me it like, and wow. I never grabbed this deck ever during a live, ever. And it was just some random dude. And like, I was like, who's punking me? Right. And I'm like, this is so freaking, but that as far as like a really weird, like coincidence or whatever you might want to call it, that totally threw me for a loop, especially knowing that I don't use those cards like hardly ever.
Right.
Yeah. And I just happened to grab them. And with that question, I was like, this is so freaking weird.
It's weird. That is weird. Do you ever have like, if somebody pops in the chat and asks you a question, can you ever get like a sense that that person's not Not got good energy. That was good English right there. Not got good energy.
it ain't got no good energy. It's just
I
all
ain't got
shit
no
energy.
good English.
Keep reading that dictionary, Diva.
I'll keep doing it. I will. Eventually, I'll get there.
Well, it depends. If they just come in for like one question or something like that, usually they're on their way or something. Or if they, if they stay and get a few questions, you can start to see things through the cards a little bit. But I don't think I've ever had anyone that was like so like over the top that I was actually like doing the reading for. I have had readings where I was doing a reading about someone and I felt really bad energy, okay? But nobody I was doing a reading for, like them, they were asking me for the reading and I had a bad feeling about them, like a horrible, horrible feeling or anything.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. How do you protect your energy? That's my question. And I feel like we have to do that even if, even if we have a gift or not. But
yeah,
some people will sap your energy.
Oh, you're talking about like an energy vampire type thing?
I guess so, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, they call them like a vampire or energy vampires. Those are meaning like if someone's. Have you ever had someone just come around you and they suck all the life out of you?
Oh, definitely.
Okay, so that was like what you would call an energy vampire. There's a few different ways you could do it. So like me, what I do every night before a reading, I'll hold this. This is just a stick of selenite. Okay, but I'll hold this, close my eyes, I take a few deep breaths, and I'll just like say a little prayer out to like my angels or my guides, just to protect my aura, my space, my field. And if you don't have something like this, so there's a few different things you could do. You could use salt, like literally, you could just sprinkle some salt around your area, around your space, or if you close your eyes and if you envision yourself, you know how like when you like in a dark room and then you turn on a light and it's really bright. Oh, you would envision something like that, but the light would go on really slowly. It would just start to encircle you. That's a really good way to protect your energy field too. You can wear certain stones, keep a crystal in your pocket. But there's a few different things you can do. Even just that, like I said, just taking a deep breath and visualizing that light that encompasses you, and then you'll say out loud, okay, so that even say out loud, just say, hey, while this light's on, nothing's going to penetrate this, okay? And then it stays on until you decide to go into your mind and flip that switch down.
I'm just imagining all of the nooks, crannies, crevices, disorganization that is up in here all the time. All the time.
Well, it sounds like what you need to do is clear your thoughts then.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
and that could be that seems tough at first, but it gets real easy. I always say you take 2 deep breaths in your nose and out your mouth, and I'll even envision as I'm breathing out that I have like a little tiny little bathroom trash can full of, but it's supposed to be all my thoughts in there with a whole bunch of trash, and then I'm dumping it out.
I need a dumpster. I need one of those big old, when you see a big old remodel and a demo and they've got the big dumpster. That's what I need, really.
Or what you can do is like what you would do is, let's say you visualize or get a piece. A lot of people like to do something like physical, you know what I mean? So for me, like I'll grab a pen and a piece of paper, okay? And let's say like I'm having a bad day, right? Or I'm feeling really bad about myself. I'll write down all this stuff like I'm a fucking idiot. I'm a dumbass, or you know what I mean? But I swear to God, I write it all down. Anything that's bothering me. I'm like, you're a loser, you're this, you're that. And I'll just sit there and sometimes it's really long too. And I'll sit there, I'll write it out. And then I'll go and I'll grab a bowl, bring it next to me, and then I'll light it on fire.
Huh. Cool.
I like that idea.
And it really, really, it's like, it's a freeing thing as you do it more and more and more and more, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I was just imagining the expert if he tried to do that.
Oh yeah.
No, he's not allowed to play with fire. No.
Yeah, he can't play with fire.
What would happen?
No matches.
No matches.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you one thing I used to do when I was younger was after a relationship ended, I would take any kind of memorabilia or anything that I had from that and I would burn it all just to kind of erase it.
And would it make you feel better?
It actually would, because I'd be like, okay, that's behind me, and I'd move on.
I thought you just didn't want any evidence of
Fuck this shit, right? No,
That may
Stevie.
be the other reason. That may be.
You didn't want
Never leave evidence for the next one. No.
that. Yep, that's what I thought it was. You had a rational reason and a spiritual reason.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. Made me
Look
feel
at-
better.
Look at expert. Look at his emoji or his what he put in the chat. No fire.
No fire. No, you're not allowed. I've been told by White Rabbit I have to call the fire department if you ever touch fire.
She's like, damn
I've sworn. I had to swear that.
That's funny.
Jeez.
So I was going to ask you, because we had kind of chatted a little bit before, and I was going to tell you about this time when I was like 3.5, maybe 4 years old. And I remember I would have pretty vivid dreams for a little kid, you know, and I had a dream that I was going to have a cat. So either the next morning or the morning after, this little kitty cat comes walking up our driveway, and I'm like, there's Kitty Ann. Like I do.
That's precognition then. That would be so you would have an innate ability for some precognition. And it was in your dream too, huh?
Oh, I've had lots of dreams like that.
That's really cool. That's so funny that you're talking about dreams, because I've been bugging everyone on my lives to start keeping a dream journal, and they're like, I don't remember my dreams. I don't dream. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna say this to someone, and someone is just gonna have some prophetic dream. Just you wait.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, and they will have documented it because I asked them to.
I had I'll tell you what, it was a very pathetic dream. I had a dream that I was in at the time, had a white Explorer, right?
Uh-huh.
I had a dream I was going down an embankment in a forest, and, you know, it wasn't working properly. You know, I couldn't stop it, couldn't hit the brakes. It was just kind of out of control. And I swear to you, the next week, that's when the transmission went out in it.
Yeah.
So you would have like an innate ability for precognition as well. You just gotta tap into that.
I've had a few dreams that actually were precognition to where it came true within the next week or so. Mm-hmm. It's kind of crazy.
That's so interesting to me. That's so awesome.
Yeah, because at the time, you know, I wake up and I'm like, you know, wow, why did I have a dream about that? And then next thing I know, especially with that one, that one's the one I remember the most, because it was like the next week, that's when the transmission started going out in it. And I'm like, so that's what it meant. Okay.
I always feel like my dreams are so full of symbolism that I can't make out the message.
Well, that's what I want to start doing. That's why I was telling everyone in my chat who doesn't dream ever and who never remembers their dream.
It's
these
BS.
buggers.
They got to get to their theta and gamma state, man. They got to get there.
That's right, man.
Yeah, man.
I'm like, you guys. I'm like, look, I want to do something with it. Once you guys start like keeping a little journal of it, because I've been doing dream interpretations when I remember my dreams, right? But I'm doing it through tarot. I'm like, but I need other people. I need you guys to be my experiment. Come on, hurry up and just start keeping a dream journal for me, would you?
Okay. I'm there. I'll have to
Somebody screenshot this, please, and show it to White Rabbit.
I had a dream, then I got married. You did marry a dream.
Yeah, you did.
And White Rabbit, I don't, you know, is hers a dream or is it, you know?
We told her not to do it. That's all I got to say.
I was going to tell you about something else, Clumsy. You tell me what you think of this one. So, you know how in college or like when you're with a group of friends, my roommates brought their friends over and one of them brought over a Ouija board. So I was like, yeah, cool. Why not?
Oh man.
Oh, cool.
Ouija boy story.
So I was like, okay. So, you know, I put my hand, it's the planchette. Is that what it's called? The
planchette. Yeah.
So, you know, I'm playing and then I start getting the sense that I know what it's going to spell out before it spells out. And I'm like, Okay, that's weird.
That's them reading your mind.
I said, okay, maybe I'm influencing this because I'm very pragmatic and rational, but at the same time, I'm a very free spirited artist, and it's very, very weird.
She's an amazing artist, by the way.
Are you?
Yes, she is.
I don't know about that.
Yes, she
I want
is.
to see.
I don't know about that. Let me finish my story, man.
You know, I paint too. I paint. I was showing people in my live one of my paintings the other day, but I'm like a shitty painter, but I do it for fun. So I'm like, you guys, look, I painted something. It's okay if it's ugly. Just tell me you like it.
I watched Bob Ross as a kid, so I just was like, okay, I can do this too. It'll be fun.
Oh man, Bob Ross.
Love Bob Ross and his little squirrel. Okay, anyway, so I pull my hands away from the planchette because I'm thinking, okay, somehow I'm influencing this. No. The answers still start coming through. I know exactly what's going to come through. And I'm like, holy shit. Nope. I'm out. How do I know these answers before they start?
What were the questions? Do you remember?
There was like the usual question, who's here?
Uh-huh.
And there were a couple of ones. It reminds me of chat, like on the YouTube.
Oh no.
You're like, who's here? And so somebody would pop in, but then they wouldn't stay long. But then this one stayed, and it was a woman from like the 1700s, and she was talking about like her experience because they were asking her questions. So what was it like for you? How was this? How was that? And I remember very vividly my hands. I'm about 5 feet away from the group at this point because I knew what she was going to say. And they're like, what was your experience? And she says, well, I'm not treated much better than chattel. And everybody in the group's like, what's chattel? What does that word mean? And
I'm like cattle?
I'm like, holy hell. Because I knew she was going to say it. I knew it was going to come through. And I was like, okay.
But what is chattel?
It's property. Yeah. It's just like property.
Interesting.
And
the body painting.
Oh my God.
Hold on. Did you body paint?
Me?
No.
Oh, yeah.
That we leave that up to ID Crisis down in Key West.
Oh, gotcha.
That's different.
Gotcha. I'm like, did you take pictures? What?
No.
I got pictures from Mardi Gras once.
Nice.
That's different.
Lots
That's
of
totally
beads.
different.
Lots of beads and lots of body painting too.
I'd rather have beignets.
That's right.
Yeah.
Bomb.
That's a good idea. Beignets as beads. That would be kind of a good idea.
No.
No beignets as beads.
No.
Well, then if you're hungry, you can just grab a snack off of your.
She's being practical.
I'm being practical.
Yo, she's
you know, when you're down there and you've had one too many hurricanes, you know, I probably need to slow down. I just need a beignet off this.
It's great.
Oh my geez. You know, going back to the dream thing, I'm a little envious of the dreams you guys have had because some of the experience I've had with dreams have been like extremely disturbing, like really disturbing, like sleep paralysis dreams. I don't believe in sleep paralysis though at all. I believe that there's something that literally like prevents somebody from moving or screaming or yelling or even moving a finger. It's so severe, the amount like that you cannot move.
Yeah.
And I'm like, sleep paralysis. And they're like, but they have like no explanation for sleep paralysis. They're like, yeah, it might run in families. We don't know. Like, no.
I had 2 friends who had episodes of night terrors with sleep paralysis. And I remember it was when they were going through some stuff that was really heavy for them. And of course, I'm looking up the scientific reason. Why would that happen? You know, what happens in the brain? And, but I do remember that happening to them. I was like, I wonder if that's related. I've never had night terrors.
Did they say anything about like what the substance of the dream was, or do they not remember? Was it just waking up?
That's what was weird, because both of them had the similar experience where they're in bed and they're, like awake, they can't move, and then they see something at the foot of their bed.
Okay, so that's what you would call the old hag, because they call it the old hag, but it goes back to like hundreds and hundreds of years when people were seeing. Back then, they were describing a hag-looking woman, either like at the foot of their bed or actually physically on top of them, preventing them from moving.
Getting a couple things. Melanie says, my mother has very vivid dreams, remembers everything. She dreams about walking all night and wakes up with tired feet.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
Wow.
Yeah. That is really interesting.
Miami Spice says, I've had sleep paralysis. It's terrifying. I can't move or scream. Huh.
Yeah, it's scary. And mine, I didn't see, so I endured it. I didn't see anything at the foot of my bed or anything like that. But it was a dream. Okay, so in this dream, I was writing at like a desk, okay? And it was almost like a dark abandoned classroom. And I remember every time I would like leave the classroom, or I would like start jogging or walking really fast. And then I would like almost feel like I fell a little bit. And in my dream, I'm saying, oh, you got to wake up. This is a weird dream. I'm saying this to myself in my dream, right? And then I would end up back at the desk again. And there would be someone laughing in the background saying, you're still stuck in the dream. You're still here. And it happened it happened over and over in the dream, right? And I keep trying to get it to like escape this dream, and this like person or whoever it is, because I can't see them, but I feel like they're always to the left of me when I have this dream. And they laugh and they're like, you're still dreaming, you idiot. And I'm like, still trying to wake up. So finally, when I do wake up, I cannot move, and then I hear the same like distant laugh to the left of me. And I remember when it first happened to me, it was so terrifying that like I remember telling my brain, like, just move your finger. Please just move your finger. You have to, or you're going to die. Just move your finger.
Wow.
It was that intense. It was horrible. It only happened a few times, thank God, but that's very disturbing. So Miami Vices is right. That shit is terrifying.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I've always been a little scared of the potential for the dark. So I don't even open up for the light. You know, like if I I stay very closed off, and I'm very compartmentalized anyway. And I just can't quite allow myself to. Now I'll study it, like feng shui and Taoism and Hindu. I'll study everyone's different connotations of the spiritual. Heck, I even have some old mountain stuff in my collection, you know, just because I'm curious. But I don't know if I could ever be a practitioner, I guess, you know.
Miami Spice says, every time it happened to me, I feel like I'm pinned down to my bed. I can't open my eyes, move, or scream. Thank goodness I can't see or hear anything, but that's scary too. No one can hear me.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, and that's it's or almost like it's interesting though that what she said about she can't see anything, right?
Yeah.
Like so for me, my eyes were open and I could look around the room to like a certain extent, but I couldn't, like I would open my mouth and would literally be screaming, but nothing was coming out.
Huh.
No one can hear me. Yeah, it's just like that. No one can hear you.
Yeah. That actually makes me think of you know, the plant medicines that we were talking about, us, just Clumsy and I, and poor Volstone had to hear about it all for years now. Where if you do go on a trip, a spiritual journey using plant medicines, what do you encounter?
Yeah, I haven't done it. I've thought about it. I've explored the idea, and my go-to thought was always like something like peyote. You know, like the Native Americans, what they give you to smoke and stuff like that. And if you do it in an area or, you know, in a zone where you're comfortable, you have people safe around you and everything like that. There's a lot of people that come back with really, really interesting experiences.
Yeah. And I wonder if it's what you're carrying with you. I don't.
Well,
I
you
think
know what? But go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, because plant medicine has that amazing ability to heal people,
Mm-hmm.
but that would be really something to be aware of if you're going to be a guide. How do you handle the person that you're guiding, what they're going through? Because they might be seeing some really, really dark.
Yeah. Well, I would suggest on that level too that whoever is your guide doing that, they would probably do like a serious cleanse of themselves first, like a serious cleanse.
Yeah,
Makes
didn't
sense.
even think of that, but yeah,
like a very, very serious cleanse and clearing of themselves before they even, went into that environment. And then, say their prayers, wear their talisman or their amulets, whatever they have, their little things to keep them protected. And then going into it, from there. But yeah, there's the interesting thing is though too with the plants is like you're saying they have this ability to heal, but that they also have this ability to kill, right? Like don't eat the purple berries. You hear stories about that in the woods, right? Or the flowers or something. So when people go on these trips, right, and they're literal trips, like people are like, oh, I'm tripping out. It is kind of like that too. It's a trip and it's a trip. But you got to be in an environment that you trust the people you're with, but also that you trust what they're giving you, because sometimes if you don't know what you're doing, you could take way too much or something like that.
Yeah. There
or
are
not enough, or you know what I mean. So you got to really kind of investigate it a little bit yourself, and then also get around people you trust to kind of know how much you would try and this and that, etc.
Well, there's a lot of research happening with the Johns Hopkins. They're doing so much as far as like they're looking at it how I would look at it, on that rational side.
Yeah.
But they can't deny the effects that it has for
Mm-hmm.
addictions and depression and just so much.
And PTSD especially.
Yeah.
I've heard that too. PTSD, depression. They've done a lot of research on it, especially recently, like the last couple of years and everything.
Yeah. It's I'm kind of excited about it. I know because was it the 60s that it was Nixon that helped to shut down that pipeline for the potential.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's almost like it almost was gone in a generation.
Yeah, it's gaining in popularity now.
It is,
as you can see, and I sent Diva a class. Diva's got a class tomorrow, right? Or is it today?
No, it's tonight. It's tonight.
Oh yeah, duh, it's tonight.
Yeah.
She's doing a little class on it tonight. I can't wait to hear how she what she learns and stuff from it.
I'm excited. It'll be interesting. But then I wonder, to be a good guide, would you have to maybe go on a trip, on a journey? Yeah, I would feel like you would have to.
Yeah, I agree. Mm-hmm. Because how am I going to hold your hand, tell you you're okay if I've never been there? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, those black.
I'm like, this bitch is crazy, you guys.
I've never been through this before, but I'm going to guide you. Okay.
A virgin guide.
It's like taking a trip to Everest with an unproven Sherpa. That would.
You said
watch a lot of videos.
Where?
Everest, yeah.
Yeah. I've never done this before. Let's go.
Let's do it. Go. Why not?
How hard can it be? Come on.
Right?
All kinds of people do this every day. It's fine.
Oh geez. No, it was trying to think now. Yeah, I had a it's so weird with, going back to talking about dreams. It's so weird because most of my dreams, it's like there's nothing really fantastical about it, but I'm just like placed in the middle of a lot of just scenarios. Like like I said, I was in the truck, or I'm in a town full of people, or I'm in a classroom, or so on. So stuff that you would think is realistic. And it took me a long time to where I got to the point to where I could become lucid and be like, okay, this isn't really happening. I can change this. I can mentally change what's going on.
And there's a lot of people who don't even get to that point. So that's awesome that you know how to kind of step out to that lucid dreaming and control the dream a bit, you know?
Yeah, but it took a long time because as a kid, kid, teenager, even up into young adulthood, it took me a long time to be able to get to that point to where I could be like, okay, I'm in a dream. I can change what's going on. Because a lot of times in the scenarios that I'm in, it's kind of like it's almost like a perilous situation.
Yes, exactly. Because you have no control of what you're dreaming about.
Right. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just, when I finally was able to start turning it around, I was like, okay, well, this isn't that big of a deal. I can change.
So when
this
you
and this
lucid dream,
Yeah.
when do you leave your body too? Like, do you travel?
For like a split second, and then I'm right back into, to kind of use a video game reference. I go from kind of a first person to a third person, and then I'm back at a first person, but I have control of it.
Interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
I got you. I think I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's like navigating, or like you're
Right.
like on an airplane or something like that, you know?
Right. Exactly.
Interesting.
But like I say, it took a long time for me to be able to do that.
Melanie says lucid dream sounds really scary. It could seem that way. However, I think it's once you kind of get your foot in the door, you could, like I said, just do little things. You could do things to protect yourself there too. Have some red jasper near your bed or some jade. You know, have just certain little things, or say a little prayer, or even when you're in the dream itself, you have your conscious mind talking to you in a sense. Once you start getting used to stuff like that, but I could see where it would. People would think it'd be scary, but it's all right once you get going.
Yeah.
Exactly.
In fact, it kind of feels like you have more control over it.
Yes.
You feel like you're more, like it's happening around you, but you control how you react in the dream.
Yes. That's the very first time I had a lucid dream. I had a dream because I have a fear of extraterrestrials.
No way.
I have it's like a legit fear. So when I have a dream about one, I know that maybe some negative energies picking up on that bullshit. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so one night I had a dream that this big ass light was shining through my window, like in my room, but like an extraterrestrial, like on like the movies, you know, where the light shines all bright from the spaceship. And I woke up but I was in my dream waking up, right? And I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. And I'm like, I'm controlling this. Go away, or something like that. And then I literally saw the light start to fade away in the dream. And I went back to sleep in my dream and then didn't wake up to the next day. But that was the very first time I felt like I had a little bit more control over my dream and started that lucid dreaming kind of process. I've only done it a few times.
Texas Jen says, I lucid dream and I have a recurring dream in the same location. A castle.
See, now that's very, hold on.
I fly in most of them.
I'm gonna, if you guys don't mind, I'm gonna pull Text Jen a card about that real quick.
Sure.
Let me bust out my cards. Hold up. Because that's interesting to me. A recurring dream in the same location. The castle. I wonder if it's like a past life. All right. So let's see what Tex Jen's lucid dream is about. You got 6 of swords. Okay, what else? Can you put her little thing back on the screen?
Sure, no problem.
Just so I can read it again. At least a dream and I have a recurring dream in the same location, a castle of some sort. I fly in most of them. So strange. Okay, so this is you traveling. I don't know if you have like people. So 6 of Swords is literally the card of the journey and traveling. Okay, so and it means literal travel or astral plane travel as well, or journey like within your soul, etc. Then we got the Star. I wonder if you talk to people or see people or communicate with people in these dreams, because the Star is very much a card of like your ancestors and stuff too. So I wonder if like that's a some type of connection you have psychically with a ancestor, or some type of ability you share with one of them.
Wow.
Does it scare her? The text said she likes to.
She just said it was so strange.
Nine of Swords. She might get like kind of freaked out by it sometimes. She doesn't need to be though. She's protected, so it's her ancestors coming through. So nice. I'm really curious though, Text Jen, if you could say in the chat if you ever see anyone or communicate with anyone or remember anything like that. But
yeah, she just said yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Wow. That's cool.
But yeah, so like something like see tarot's perfect for stuff like that. Like, let me bust out my card and see what this is all about.
What are you laughing about?
Look, it's okay to say you dream about me. I usually do. Yeah, I know you do.
Oh,
actually.
No! Oh, burn, baby, burn.
Beautiful. Yeah, even Ash agrees with her.
I love it.
Let's see. Texas Jen says, it doesn't scare me. I actually enjoy it. Yes, I talk to people, but I can't ever recall their face.
It's normal.
Yeah. Go ahead, Clumsy.
No, go ahead, Deb. You're good.
So I after my folks had passed away, I kept dreaming about my old home place again and again and again.
About what?
About where I grew up. Like I would just.
Oh.
Mm-hmm, I would dream all the time. I still do sometimes. It's not as frequent now, but yeah, I dreamed about it recently, and that one was weird.
Yeah, I was fixing to say, can you remember the one from the other night where you were at a place and then you ended up back at that house?
Yeah, I was shopping. At a department store, and the person was rude to me in the store. And I remember thinking in my dream, because it was a lucid dream, and I said, I would never do this in real life. But I said, I need to see your manager. I would never do this in real life. I was like a Karen. So the manager comes up and he says, he's just as rude to me, if not worse. And they pull up my recent transaction history. Apparently I'd returned 4 items in the past, which I remember thinking, I don't shop here. Why would I return anything? Somehow it turns into me like trying to leave, and I'm either taking a kid with me. Now this is what's weird. I take a kid with me and I'm kind of like fleeing, but I'm not fleeing. And I go into the basement of this department store, and it turns into some kind of portal. This sounds so funny to talk about. And then I end up at a biochemical facility.
A bio what?
It's like a military biochemical facility. And I'm like, how did I get here? And I know it's military because there's armed patrol all around it. And they look at me like, we knew you were going to show up.
Like they're waiting?
Yeah. But before I had gotten there, I had, the portal had let me out at my old neighbor's place in a nasty chicken coop.
Hold on. But wait. Rewind. A nasty chicken coop. But, okay, so you said at the neighbor's, but was that like the neighbor to the house of the dream, or of the house you were dreaming about?
No, the neighbor to my where I grew up. And
okay.
Yeah. And like all the chickens were emaciated and nasty and had lost their feathers. And I know what that represents, actually. I know exactly what that represents. And then I found a little nest of kittens, and I was like, I'm going to save this kitten. And then that's when I arrive at like this military facility that's biochemical. Yeah.
Okay, so, but is the facility your old home or no?
No.
When was it you showed up at your old home? Was that after you got the kittens?
No, that was So as I'm fleeing from the department store,
Right.
I go through this portal, and the portal actually opens up to the chicken coop that's like broken down and dilapidated and full of
Right.
chicken crap. And the chickens are everywhere. I see the chickens, and then I see the little nest of kittens. I think I grab a kitten to decide that I'm going to save it. And then I walk a little bit, and then that's when I find the military facility. Really
So
weird,
you were like at your old house when you saw the kittens then, and then went to the military place.
The neighbors.
The neighbors, yeah.
Okay.
The neighbors, and I know what that represents. Like I know what that one means.
So I pulled some cards while you were telling the story, and I think you forgot. You feel either you literally there's something that was left there at that home, or you feel as though there's a big piece of you missing from that place or something. But I almost feel like this could be maybe even both, like an object or, some type of spiritual, you know what I mean? Yeah. But there was something that was, there's something that was left there in that home. That's why you keep going back to it.
I'm going to cry.
Don't cry on camera.
I can't cry on camera? There's no crying.
Yes, you can.
No crying on YouTube.
Don't worry. It's not baseball. We're good.
Yeah. I know exactly what that is.
So are you going to spill? Spill. If you want. If you don't, that's fine.
Yeah,
you can spill or I can go to Ash.
You go to Ash.
Okay.
Next. Just kidding.
All right. Ash says, I do have one thing that visits me in my sleep multiple times, stands at the doorway or whispers creepy stuff. It's probably guava.
Oh, that was funny. Hold on. Ash, does that happen like recently? Does it still happen? Look, text Jen's like me. Is it aliens? If it's aliens, I'm gone.
I'm out.
Well, at least she laughed about the guava thing.
Right, she got it.
Yeah.
Oh,
ever since
good.
she was 12.
Cool. Huh. We'll do a read on this. We'll do this for Ash. See what's up.
I'm gonna have to get some water. I'll be right back.
Okay. So Spirit, please come through for Ash.
You're fine, doll.
Can you tell what's going on with this creepy thing? This scary.
Yeah, I'll pull it back up for
visitor. A scary visitor. This visits Ash during sleeping hours. Okay. Anything else? Okay. And Ash, I'm about to ask you something. How long have you lived in your current house?
Yeah, just a second. She does say it's a top hat man looking thing.
Ooh. Oh, it's the hat man. Okay. It's the hat man. A lot of people have come to the consensus the hat man is usually a darker spirit.
Is it always?
I don't know if I'd say always. I would say it definitely can't be. It's usually negative no matter what. However, it doesn't mean it's always a demon. That's what I would say. Because a lot of people want to call things demons and stuff. And it's
right.
I think I've only had twice. And one time was during Expert's Halloween stream when someone asked if there ever was like a possession going on.
It wasn't when you read mine. It wasn't when you read mine, was it?
I hope not. Were you the one who asked? Someone was saying that their house was like they felt that they were in like oppression and that their husband was being influenced by like a demon.
I remember that.
And it disturbed me, and I was like, email me, I'll send you something. I'll try to help you out. Right? I was like, I'll send you some black salt and some sage and shit. It might help, but that person never emailed me either. But that was one of the only times I literally had like the devil show up and some other cards around it that were really bad. When being asked such a serious, being asked that type of question.
Yeah, I remember your voice changed and everything, like your whole tone and demeanor.
Yeah.
You were like,
I was like, no, actually there is. Fuck.
You were asking how long Ash has lived in her home. She said for 10 years. And then she says, it's followed me from my parents' home.
Yes. I was just going to say, I know it's from an old house and it's from someone who might have. So the fact that it's a hat man, I'd say, it's negative. Okay. And it's a strong male presence all the way. And I almost feel like it's attached to a generational man, like from that old home, like that goes back hundreds and hundreds of years. And I feel like he did something really bad to his family.
Mm.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Sorry. I won't.
Mm.
But you could get, there's ways to help protect your space and stuff like that. You can email me if you ever want to. I can send you some stuff to help you cleanse your space and everything.
Mm.
And help protect your energy too. Black salt is like the number one. Like if it's literally around you, like around your bed and stuff, you put a little bit of that near the edge of your bed and stuff like that. They will not cross that shit. So
Mm. Wow.
Expert wants to know, does black salt taste different than pink salt?
I don't know. Let me try it. I think I have some nearby. Hold on. Hold please. Hold please.
Ash did say, I would have to look into that. My parents bought the house when I was 11.
Interesting.
Wow. Wow. So how often?
Ew.
How
This
often?
stuff tastes gross.
There you go. There's your answer,
There's
expert.
your answer.
Does that normally happen? Because I remember you asking the other day, you were like, when it was a kid, and you had asked, does that child show any sign of attachments? And I was like, so can like behaviors in children indicate attachments?
Yes, for sure. And it'd be similar to ones in adults. It actually probably gets, I would think that it gets unnoticed a little bit more with kids because people expect kids to act up, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you might be like, oh well, they're just 5 or they're just 12, they're going through, puberty, or they're just 2, they're going through the terrible twos, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a lot easier for us to try to dismiss that. However, if you're just like an attuned parent or, pay attention, you would start to see those changes in behavior.
Yeah.
And you probably also start to see maybe even abuse within the kid, like see them waking up with scratch marks and whatnot, having nightmares, all that.
Yeah. One of my first jobs, I worked in a psychiatric hospital, but I worked with adults, chemically dependent adults, and then the child and adolescent side. And I remember like people who are in full blown crisis, if it was a schizophrenic, what they're seeing is what they, like it is real to them.
Well, yeah. My brother's paranoid schizophrenic, so
yes,
I understand.
Yes. And you can't, like, to them, it's completely rational.
Yeah.
And I'd listen. I never tried to tell them it wasn't, I don't know. It was kind of like, I wanted them to know
that you believed him almost.
Yes.
Because like, the guy I sent you that clip of the other day, Chris Fleming, I was like, he's my favorite psychic ever. Like, I just love him. He did one of those episodes about just that because he's had an issue his whole life. He said that because people would, because he's he's a world-renowned medium now, but he said growing up people would tell him, well, maybe you need medication.
Yeah.
Because he saw, dead people would talk to him and stuff. I see dead people are, but he was a physical medium, which means he can actually see the dead and communicate with them. So he said for years he had to deal with that. And he said, it started to make me think, like, are all these other people maybe gifted and not crazy?
That's exactly how I felt too. And I remember I had one fella, he swore, well, I'm going to bring up aliens. He swore he was abducted by aliens. Like, he swore it. He said, and see, look, I even have the scar to prove it. They tried to implant something in my head. And sure enough, he had a big old scar. And I was like, something happened to him. It could be rationally explained, scientifically explained, or it can't, either way, but it's real to him.
Yes.
And the fact that he was in distress about all of the other stressors in life, which happened to, amp up his symptoms a little bit more, where he couldn't quite cope with how things are in this world. And
and if you have, let's say you have a negative spirit that's around, just in a building or something like that, right? And if this negative spirit has been around a long time, it could grow in its strength, right? Mm-hmm. It'll start to, and it could, get to the point where it could start to read, people's thoughts and stuff. And it would literally be able to do something like manifest somebody's greatest fear, even though they're not an alien. This dark entity or this, this spirit itself is not an alien. They could project themselves as that to this person to scare the crap out of them.
Yeah. Wow.
And just keep pushing them and pushing them.
Jeez. Ash said, I was a shy, well-grounded kid. I knew better than to cause a scene. Very, very strict parents.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I remember when I was in, I got to go to a school where you didn't have to go to kindergarten. You could just go right into first grade. And I was so excited about going to school because my older brother went to school and it looked like fun to me. So the first day I arrived at school, I'm like looking around at all the kids. I got one kid crying, another one with their head down on the desk.
This is traumatizing.
And I was looking around like, this is not what I expected that school would be. But it was at that point in time that I kind of realized you had to follow a rational path. And I couldn't go and chase butterflies and play in the creek. And, just I had to follow that rational path. And I don't like it. It's
kind of like that pineal gland that we were talking about the other night, remember? I'm chuckling because I think it was Squat Bob who said something about it in one of the chats the other
night.
Yes. The pineal gland. And he said it to Mel. I think
he's trying to be clever. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, hold on. I was just talking about the pineal gland. I was like, he took the pineal gland and he totally peed it up.
He did. Because Ballstorm is like, what's the pineal gland? I was like, come on, man. We talk about this. I was like, it's your third eye.
Specifically, you didn't name it.
It releases DMT naturally, man. It's like,
but that's an example right there. That because when we're born, it's much larger than when we grow in age.
Yes.
It shrinks as we get older because we don't do anything with it.
Yeah, we're not as connected anymore.
Well, there's this old yogi who just passed away, I think in 2010, and he wanted, his whole thing was to increase the size of that third eye. And they said that when they did his autopsy, it was literally twice the size of what it should have been, or what is considered, what they normally see.
Oh wow.
And that was his whole thing was literally was to expand his third eye. And he donated his body for that purpose to see if there was a difference in his brain or whatever. So it's really interesting.
It is. Do you ever watch anything about Wim Hof?
About who?
It's WIMHOFF, I think. Wim Hof. Is he from Amsterdam?
Now
I think he is.
Now that you spelled his name, it kind of seems like I've seen it or like I've heard of it. I don't know.
He does the cold therapy stuff and this breathing technique. But what's cool about him is he puts himself up for research because
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. His body can do stuff that we think scientifically isn't humanly possible.
Oh,
it's really
cool.
Interesting. Yeah. I'm a big nerd. I don't know if anybody gathered.
No, I'm a nerd too. It's okay.
I don't know if that came through.
I'd have never guessed in all the years.
I was stuck watching tiny houses like all week on YouTube last week. I was like, these tiny houses are so cute. I was like, people what they do with these cool tiny houses.
I know. And then if they have a nice big garden or something.
I know. And I'm like, this is so cute. I want one. I just want a tiny house.
Yeah.
They're so cool looking. But yeah, like YouTube will get you on stuff like that. You're like, hey, what's that?
It's Will.
Yeah.
Cool, right?
Yeah. What's happening? I don't have time. Like the drama stuff that happens, it's interesting because I'm kind of like, ooh, it's like spring.
Yeah. It's interesting for a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. But then I get lost in a different rabbit hole. I'm like, oh, what did they talk about? I go.
Well, you know what? You guys said you almost finished my live from the other night, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you missed the end because Carla was at the end.
Oh, really?
Yes. I just thought about that.
I'm sure everybody that's listening knows, but there is probably no bigger Carla fan than Clumsy. Every Friday Night Live, she's like, I have a Carla clip.
Even John D, he put in the comments, he's like, I love Carla. That's what he wrote on the last video. He's like, I love Carla. I'm like, ain't she the best, dude? She's like, she's awesome.
My favorite's still the McDonald's one. That nothing will
Yes,
top that for me.
That's the original.
Nothing.
That's the first one.
Oh, is
was ever
it?
there. Yes, that was the original.
That and when her husband, boyfriend, whatever, is dumpster diving.
That one was
hilarious.
That was,
Ronnie.
yes,
And she's
yes,
like,
Rodney.
Ronnie.
We started calling Guava Ball Rodney because of that.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. That's hilarious. No,
Got
so
you
and then last
something.
night, so I showed them all because there's a few people in the chat, like John D. He didn't know who Carla was. So I was like, all right, y'all, you're about to meet Carla, right? And so I played the very first one, which is the McDonald's one, and then I did the part 2 to that, where she got the voodoo doll. She ordered off eBay that was supposed to be Charlene.
Yes.
And at the end of it, she's like, because you see these like lights going on in the background, and she's like, you know where I'm at? She's like, I'm at McDonald's, guys. You know which one. And she's like in the back of a car. She's like, y'all know which one. And she's like, I think someone's getting ready to get an ambulance. Because she'd been like poking the voodoo doll all day, so she was waiting for
Charlene. I remember how she was poking. Yes. She was using a specific technique to take it out on that voodoo doll.
Well, we just saved the expert a lot of work tonight.
We did?
Yeah, he said I'm playing the stream tonight.
Right? But at the very end, she goes, voodoo. She's like, voodoo works, bitches, or something like that. She's like, voodoo fucking works, or something like that. It's so fucking funny at the end.
Oh God.
She's like, and voodoo works, people.
That makes me think of a book called Conjure Tales, where it's talking about the voodoo. The hoodoo voodoo.
The voodoo.
Yeah.
I did a thing. I do charm casting because I do other forms of divination, and and my chat the other night went wild. They're like, "What are you doing? What is that?" And hold on, I think I have them. My different charm rooms. I'll show you guys what they look like. But there they are. Okay, hold please. Okay, so you see this? You see all these random like charms? There's numbers. There's all types of stuff in there, right?
Yeah.
So what I'll do is I'll go like this, right? If someone's got a question, I'm like, okay. Like, oh yeah. So like Rick the other night was like, what might my new girlfriend's name be, or what might she look like, yada yada yada. So I'm like, okay. So I grab stuff, throw them, and then there's letters and stuff like that. But someone was saying, what is that called? I'm like, well, it used to be called casting lots, which goes back to voodoo, where they used to take the chicken bones and throw them.
Mm-hmm.
So this is almost like a newer version of that. But voodoo's really interesting.
Yeah.
They have a lot of stuff like divination type stuff that goes way back, those creoles and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Clumsy, let me ask you this: when people are asking you to pull cards for you, what's probably some of the most popular topics they ask you about?
Always a relationship. Always.
That's what I thought.
Sweethearts.
Always. I'm always. So sometimes when I get an unexpected question in the chat, I'll get really excited too. I'm like, ooh, that's a good question. I get out so excited. I'm like, oh, that's a good one. I'm like, okay, let's see. Because I do get really used to, and I don't mind doing it at all ever, but I do get used to what's coming towards me in love. Are me and my boyfriend gonna get back together? And then sometimes it gets, you have to, as a tarot reader, it's your responsibility to kind of strike a balance with people that come to you too, because you'll get people who will ask the same question and then they'll expect a different answer every time. They want the answer they want,
Yeah.
So and I'm like, okay, now it's time to talk about self-worth. I'm going to put down the cards for a second, all right, guys? But I do that to be kind, you know what I mean? To let them know that, just to try to encourage people to know that. And I always say, too, I'm like, look, no matter what my cards ever tell you, you still, everybody, hear me, everybody, you have your own choice. You know what I mean? No matter what, nothing's going to ever take that away from you.
Yeah.
So I always tell people that. But, yeah, there's some people that, you'll get that'll, they expect a different answer every time, but it's like, okay,
Well,
all right.
And that's what I was supposed to ask you was, do you think a lot of people just kind of throw their expectations toward it, hoping that whatever they're expecting is going to pop up in the cards?
Sometimes, yeah. Well, I would think with certain topics, especially too, such as romance, because
Right.
whether they see it or not too, they're in a cycle, right?
Yeah.
And so then the cards start to show them that cycle. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And it's reflective, and it just kind of goes back in that circle. It's like, and a lot of times they'll ask, okay, so, is my boyfriend cheating on me? And depending on who I'm talking to, the real answer should be, why am I in this position?
Yep.
Where did things go wrong here if I'm asking this question? Is it just me? Is this a me problem? Like, am I being paranoid? Or how did we get here? Or is this a relationship, savable, etc.? How can we trust each other more? You know what I mean? So sometimes it's so much in the question you ask.
So Melanie said the other day, everybody was wanting to know where they cheated on. I was amazed.
Yeah, and a lot of people, most of them they had been. So
oh
yeah.
Trust your intuition. Jeez.
Yeah, and I tell them too. I'm like, look, I'm just gonna tell you what I see, what I feel, and then it sucks when they ask that question and then that 3 of Cups shows up in reverse. I'm like, fuck, damn it. It's like I don't even have to pull. I'm like, I don't even have to pull any more cards.
Sorry,
okay.
but yeah. Miami Spice said you summoned that person today. He slid into my DMs right before the show.
Ooh.
I don't know who she's talking about, but
does he look like nice. Tom Selleck?
No, you're thinking of White Rabbit. You're thinking of White Rabbit.
I don't know. A lot of ladies wouldn't mind Tom Selleck to slide into their DMs.
Look at the expert trying to relate. People do that to lawyers too. The answer they want to hear.
I give them the answer they don't want to hear, but I try to soften that blow as much as I can. Like, unfortunately, yes, it looks like it.
Does that work?
Yes.
Trying to soften the blow. Does that work?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Well, it does. It does in a sense because you know what, and like, I think that day too in the chat there was some rowdy people in the chat that night, which is kind of odd. Like, I think I had a cool frog, where he sends the people your way, a raid, right? And I was all excited for the raid, but there was definitely a few people there like, I don't believe in tarot card readings and I'm like, that's cool, you don't have to, right?
Right.
But when I'm sitting here doing a reading for a sensitive topic like that, I don't want to hear no shit from anybody like, oh, ha, ha, you got jaded on. You know what I mean?
Oh, right.
Yeah. Luckily, nobody did that. But I was like, oh, they better not. I had my scowling face on. I'm like, oh, they better not fuck with nobody.
Yeah, because if they're already carrying some baggage anyway,
yes,
they don't need that poked at. That does not need to be ridiculed. Mm-mm.
Well, because you probably already know it deep down your gut. Your intuition's telling you.
That's how I feel
like
too.
when that comes up, it just kind of reaffirms.
It's confirmation for them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of times with something like that too, I'll be like, well, let's see if there's anything that can be done. If there's something we're saving here, and I'll check extra cards. And sometimes there's not even anything we're saving, and then I'll have to tell them that news. So it's like, okay, here we go. I walked into this one. But a lot of times, there's something that can be done there, actually. There's reasons why for this or that. So I try to, explain a little bit to them from even the person that's cheating on them, their perspective as well. I'll go deep into that sometimes.
Right.
So but it depends on the person, the circumstance, all that.
Gotcha. Miami Spice said they stuck around because Clumsy is the real deal, folks.
Oh, yes. Your check's in the mail. Whoop, whoop.
Well, I had sent you that link earlier. I didn't know you actually are what made me think of it, because the way you go about things is kind of therapeutic. And I was like, I wonder if people do, like psychotherapists actually do tarot. And then I found that link, and I was like, "Oh,
I haven't clicked on it yet. I just downloaded Spotify because I was like, "Is Spotify free?" You're like, "Yeah, it's free." Yeah. I'm like, "Oh, okay." Yeah. I didn't even know that though until she told me. So I haven't even listened to it yet, but I'm excited to listen to it. But there is actually a lady on YouTube who was a therapist in London. She's English or British,
Oh,
and
right.
she did it for years and years. And she's a tarot reader and an oracle card creator, and she was a therapist for years and years. So I could see the two. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially if you're a tarot reader who is a realist, as I would say. You know what I mean? Because some tarot readers you just can't stand. Like those people are like positive thinking. You gotta manifest it. You gotta manifest it. Well, if you think positive, everything positive will come out. And it's like I like it's called toxic positivity, but it's just too much positivity. And it's very good to be optimistic. Don't get me wrong. I always tell people, try to, keep your chin up, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, you got to be real, because if you're suppressing emotions that are normal emotions, like anger, fear, resentment, it's going to fester. And then you just keep lying to yourself over and over. Oh, it's okay. I'm fine. I'm manifesting my happiness. So I always tell people, I'm like, you know what? Just kind of take a look at your emotions and feel them honestly, and then release them. You know what I mean? Go ahead and feel the pain, do your crying, but then after that, let it go. That way you're just not holding on to anything and pretending it's not there.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like, what was that video we watched, Diva? The Secret?
The Secret.
That big
What's
scam.
That? I'm like, what secret? What's the secret?
The Secret.
What's the secret?
Basically, it was like, we had watched this video, and it was like, most of the video was just this big, basically infomercial. People would come on and tell, oh, my life changed because of The Secret and blah, blah, blah.
I became wealthy and famous and got the home of my dreams and my yacht. And
let's say the video was an hour. I swear a good 50 to 55 minutes was nothing but that. It's like, okay, get to it. And then finally and then finally the secret was revealed to be, if you think positive thoughts, then positive things will come to you. And I'm like, what a load of crap.
I know.
Now you fucking assholes. I want my hour and a half back, please.
Yeah, like after 5 minutes, I tuned out anyway, but I was like, okay, I'm along for the ride, see what happens. And then it gets to the end, and I'm like, really?
Well, and then I was left there analyzing the whole thing. I was like, I wonder if this does work for some people, maybe because maybe they're tuned into the right frequency and that's all they needed was just to believe that they could believe it.
Yeah, I can see that in a sense with some folks or something. Maybe they just needed the extra push to start being more positive or something like that. But you're not going to tell me I'm going to manifest $1 million by sitting on my ass, just sitting here.
Exactly.
I tried that for a couple years. It didn't work.
It ain't working.
Save you some time.
I'm trying. It ain't working.
Right?
It's funny. It didn't happen.
Well, when you think about it, you probably pour through over $1 million in your lifetime when so maybe that was the $1 million right there. And it just got
damn it.
Dang it.
Dead on, Melissa. Diva, look over the stuff you and I did and see if there's anything we didn't cover.
You get a rainbow and you get a unicorn and you get a rainbow and you get a unicorn. Oh, I love that.
It's Oprah.
I think we covered everything.
I love it.
I had written down the story about the Ouija board, which freaked the crap out of me. And why I'll investigate and learn stuff, but I won't touch it. Kids having attachments and behaviors, dreams. We definitely talked about that.
Yeah. One thing that made me think of as far as kids and attachments is that's one thing that the expert talked about in his paranormal stream was about how kids seem to be able to have that attachment and be able to see things. And then when you're an adult, you don't.
Well, and Clumsy will be able to talk to this. I feel like an attachment is more intense than the kids that actually just see stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's bad. You don't want that, because then and having a kid having to go through even just like a cutting of the cord, or if it's real bad, like like they'd have to get like an actual exorcist done or something. That'd be just so traumatizing to a child.
Oh shit. Yeah.
And then folks that have the gift but suppress it.
Yeah, well, there's some children too who are physical mediums,
Yeah.
and their parents don't know what that means or what it is. So for an example, a lot of physical mediums they find out in their childhood that they can see dead people, literally, right?
Right.
So let's say I'm a small child and I'm a physical medium, and around 5 or 6 I start seeing dead people. That would be, for a lot of people who don't know, what that might mean. They might think their child is completely nuts. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not know what to do, and the kid could suppress it. And if the kid suppresses it, they can end up like having spirits that come around that are really aggressive with them, because some spirits will get very, very frustrated if you're not acknowledging them, because you got to think these spirits that have like really bad deaths or something like that, they're walking around and no one can see them or hear them, and then they find someone who can see them and hear them, and they're going to bug the crap out of you because you're the only one that can see them, hear them, anything. And to a little kid, that's scary.
Yeah.
But to the spirit, they're like, hey, you got to get me out of here. Can you help me cross over? You know what I mean? And literally, this kid can cross them over, but this kid doesn't know it, or they find out by accident or over time if they, kind of roll with their abilities. If they suppress it, though, there could be some stuff that comes along with that. But
yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that. Very interesting.
Les Jane says, my mom suppresses her gift. She's become too jaded, but she did see a whole bunch of her past lives in a dream, and she has had the same annoying friends throughout all of them. Oh, wow.
That's interesting. Same group of friends, too?
Yeah, that's what she
said. Past life readings are fun when people want to know about their past lives.
Well, I'm going to be hitting you up later.
So. She's like, yes.
Yeah. I think we got some talking to do off camera.
That's right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
If any of you guys in the chat have any questions for Clumsy, just throw them in there and we'll put them up for her.
Throw it at me.
That's funny.
Said, yep, they look different, but knew it was them. Huh.
What's Melody talk about? Is that where you have to make mood boards for you?
Oh, yeah, that's the secret. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they weren't even like vision boards, because I think there is some legitimacy to the vision board stuff. But the secret was...
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so dumb.
I know. Like I said, about 5 minutes in, I was like, okay, this is total BS.
It's not dumb, because like I've practiced like doing meditation / manifesting with tarot, and you'll take a certain card, leave it on your little thing for the week. However, though, like it's more of like a meditation or opening up certain things and having yourself open to that energy. So in some forms, I can totally see that yes, you can manifest. It's not about it, but it's such an extreme, you know what I mean? Like, this is going to fix every single one of my problems, and you know what I mean? I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to have my BMW by tomorrow, because I've been manifesting like an SOB, y'all.
It's like I had the mindset. I just don't want to put in the work.
I really want that tractor.
But hold on, you have to manifest yourself to manifest to move, and then you got to manifest that you're moving, manifest you to your job, or manifest you to the lotto ticket you're going to win money on.
Yeah.
Miami Spice says, I think it's always crazy when my dreams include different groups of people from all different times and situations.
That is interesting. So keep a dream journal. I've been telling everyone in my chats to keep one. And they're like, no, I don't remember my dreams. I don't have a dream. Keep a dream journal.
Mm-hmm. I do.
Because what I want to do is eventually have a couple weeks go by to where everyone like comes in alive. Everyone shares all their dreams, and then I want to do a whole bunch of readings on them.
Lord, everybody will know I'm not on this world after I tell everybody my dreams.
They already know that.
Yeah, they already know.
Safe space.
Yeah. Tree of trust.
Melanie says, I'm Indian by birth, and reincarnation is a very Hindu thing, so I am curious.
Yep. Yep.
Very interesting.
Hold on, what did she say? I am Indian by birth?
She said she's Indian by birth, and reincarnation is a very Hindu thing.
Yes, it is.
So I'm curious.
That also goes along with like the Akasha records and stuff like that.
The what?
Have you ever heard of the Akashic records?
No, but wasn't
No, I haven't.
Divinity said was talking
Oh.
about that, and I was
Yeah.
curious. Yeah.
That's similar because it's a thought that and there's some talk about it. There's biblical texts that reference the Akashic library, and what it is, it's think of it as this huge library consistent of all of your past lives and every decision and every contract you've made on your life and every person you've ever met and every person you will meet and all that stuff, and all these contracts are there. And if you are, there's only a select few of people that can actually enter an Akashic library, so to speak. And if you're able to enter an Akashic library, you're able to look at your contracts and to potentially get rid of one, adjust one, or just to reflect on your other one, your other past lives, etc. But there's a thought, but it's kind of connected a little bit to that Hindu past life thing. But it's just a little different.
How do you spell that?
Akashic. So that's AKA, hold on, Akashic, AKASHIC, I think.
Sounds legit.
Hold on, let me see.
Yeah, seems legit.
Seems legit.
Hold on. Okay, hold on. I got it. It is AKASHIC. So I'm gonna read, like, even for Wikipedia, it says in the religion of Theosophy philosophical school, the Akasha records are a compendium of all universe events, thoughts, words, emotions, intent ever to have occurred in the past, present, and in the future.
Oh wow!
They are believed by such and such, and it's on a non-physical plane. Yeah. Hey, I feel like I described it pretty well.
Yeah, that's pretty dead on.
Do you need a lawyer when you're going through those to get out of that contract?
Is there such thing as an Akashic lawyer?
Yes.
Oh,
for
no way.
I'll be your Akashic lawyer for fun.
I'm here to represent my client.
There's some things that people like. There's some people. This is an interesting topic too, about people who are cursed and hexed. And I have listened to. There's this lady who has actually studied like about curses and hexes. She's done it for years and years. She's like one of the only people around, and she's from the U.S. too, that actually is an expert in curses and hexes. Because you ever heard someone say, "I have to be cursed because my luck's so bad," and right. She's so fascinating to listen to, and she says that 90% of the time it's not a curse or a hex, but the story she tells you when it is a hex or a curse, man, there's some crazy stuff, and it's like. And she's like, the big thing is you have to be, you would have to know. She's like, a good way to know if you're like right away if you're hexed or cursed is there would have to be somewhere in your actual past or in your family's actual immediate past to where they knew someone from a certain area of the country that was able, or of the world, I mean, to actually practice the art of doing hexes and stuff. So. That's part of it, but yeah, she's gone into some cool storytelling about people who have actually been through a hex.
There's a Christian book written called Blessing or Curse, and it talks about that whole aspect, because that's kind of taboo in the Christian circles, and he writes about it. He's like, nope, it's real, it's legit.
That's interesting.
Different perspective,
right.
But very similar too. Like
yeah, there is a lot of similarities there. A lot of times people just call things different things.
Yeah,
right. Like you might call Bigfoot like a what's it called? What is it? Yeah, or a Yeti, right?
Yeah.
I always tell people there's so many different names like that mean the same thing.
Well, it's like the different names in different religions for God.
Yeah.
It all means the same thing, but it just goes by a different name.
Yeah.
True that.
Just different. Different.
That's right. Well, Clumsy, is there anything you'd like to say before we sign off?
Thank you for having me.
Thank you
Thank you
so
for
I mean,
much.
if I
being
This
get
has
here.
been-
invited, if you guys ever want to invite me back, I'd love to come over.
I
Yes,
would
ma'am.
love. Please.
I'll tell you what, you've been wonderful. We've had a
Mhm.
great time. I feel like the chat's had a great time.
Yeah.
And guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I know we've had a blast. So we will see you guys next time. Thanks.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.